Come on, do Nazi stuff.
Look out for Charlie.
I didn't think I would ever be doing this, but we need to talk about Charlie Kirk. Something happened, right? Before I start this, I need to put out there, like I do in these types of videos, that I am not on the right or the left. I cannot stand leftists, and I can't stand neocons. These modern people on the left think that they're Democrats. It's like, no, JFK was a Democrat. You know, you're a Bolshevik. And neocons are just as bad. They're just as bad. So I have to put that out first. So what happened to Charlie Kirk? There's a lot of weird shit going on. And I just need to get straight to it. You know, there was a smoke screen right away. Right away. You had this guy that started yelling, "I'd do it again, I'd do it again." And he was yelling, "Shoot me," and all this shit. I actually have that, and I'm trying to find the video, and somehow the video vanished. So I'm trying to refine that. But anyway, right after Charlie Kirk was shot, he creates this smoke screen, this diversion. And multiple people were arrested for this right away. They even came out and said that they had their guy. At 4:27 p.m. yesterday, the day he was shot, they said that they had their suspect in custody. And there were already multiple videos online of this guy being arrested. Multiple people. There was a guy outside his car that they said had a gun on the dashboard or something. I don't know. So I can't find the video of him yelling, "Shoot me," right now, but here's the video of him being arrested.
How dare you! How dare you!
And the woman sounds weird herself.
How dare you! How dare you! He's such a monster! What a monster!
That sounds like leftist rage, not like right.
Such a monster!
If she starts screaming for no reason, then
A monster! How dare you! Back it up! Back it up!
she just did. What is that? Listen to that.
Back it up! How dare you! Back it up! Back it up!
What is that? It sounds weird. It doesn't sound authentic. So this guy was arrested, okay? And I began to look into him, and he pops up at all these different events all the time. He was interviewed for 9/11 shit back in the day. So, you know, this alleged nut job that was yelling, "Shoot me," and "I'd do it again," and all this. This is George Zinn right here, and he was from the, it looks like Major Breed Taylor Foundation. And he's being interviewed about 9/11. Check this out.
And we see that plane go in, and we just think, wow, you know. And then I think it was what, a 9/12 or something like that that second plane hit that tower. Immediately chaos in that hotel lobby. There was everybody was on cell phones.
So he seems completely lucid. You know, it's very weird. The other day I was watching a video and Sam Hyde was talking about QAnon types, and I was like, QAnon? They were still talking about Trump hiding in a mountain waiting to take the throne in like 2022, you know. But he says these QAnon types, you know, everything isn't a conspiracy. And, you know, he's right. If you look outside your front door and you look around, there's nothing going on. You know, if you go to the store, there's no conspiracy going on. But when you're dealing with politics and power and money and narrative control, there is always a cover-up and a crime happening. And that's all that a conspiracy is. You know, within days of Sam Hyde stating that not everything was a conspiracy, 7 right-leaning political candidates in Germany all die within a couple days, right before the election. This just happened in Germany. But this goes to show that not everything is a conspiracy set up or cover-up until you get into politics, big business, and narrative control. So it's weird that this guy was just hanging out. I looked him up. I looked up this George Zinn, this same guy that created this whole smoke screen for the actual Charlie Kirk shooter, was arrested in 2013 with making a bomb threat at a marathon. So he was totally lucid in that video talking about 9/11. And for some reason, he was chosen to be, you know, interviewed. And then suddenly, you know, he's at these places saying crazy things in the open. Intentionally. He's intentionally doing this. Something's going on. Because you're going to see that the evidence doesn't line up. I found this really weird group on Instagram called Elevate Utah. And they are saying and doing some weird things, especially for Zoomers. alleged Zoomers, they're acting more like boomers. It almost looks like they're deep fakes or something. It's kind of weird. It doesn't seem natural to me. It's very weird. It's dry. It's bland. No one would watch it, but, they have, like, support. If you look at this photo, this was shot 7 days, a week, at least a week before Charlie Kirk was shot. And they call it Charlie Kirk 2025's Campus Martyr Tour. Check this out. Campus Martyr Tour. Why would they do that? It's a little bit weird. Video is very messy, but I literally have like 1,000 new files from yesterday that I'm trying to go through and find things. And I may have named things different, and it's really hard to sort out right now. But, they said, we got the guy, and we don't have the guy. Now, they're saying that it's this guy that jumped off the roof, right? And they were looking for him. Now they've caught him, right? And he doesn't match the profile. What was said to be left on the bullets was left-wing messages, like notices bulges, OWO, what's this, right? And hey, fascists, catch this. But when they find the guy, he looks like he comes from like a conservative family. Very weird. But let me show you the big stuff. You're going to see this guy run across the roof without a weapon. So he was just on the roof. That's all they're looking for. They're really looking for the guy that was on the roof. Could somebody get on the roof and watch this show going on without shooting Charlie Kirk? Absolutely. So this guy runs across the roof without a weapon. He's got no gun in his hand. Then they close up. Here, he's got no weapon in his hand. He's got a little backpack. Now, they claim that the weapon is a 30-06. You cannot break down that 30-06, especially when you're running off a roof. It's impossible. So he jumps off the roof here with just a little backpack. That's a little backpack, right? Or a jacket, even. It's tiny. A 30-06 is very long. It's a long rifle. It doesn't break down like an AR. It's a rifle, like a solid rifle. So he jumps off with nothing, but they find the rifle in the woods. Now, people have claimed that he had it stuffed in his jeans. Well, how could he run? He runs across that roof, no problem. You are not going to stuff a 30-06 into skinny jeans, which it looks like he's wearing, really thin jeans, and then run across the roof like that. And the way he ran across the roof in the beginning was stealthy. So there's no rifle at all up on the roof, but he doesn't leave with a rifle, but it ends up in the woods. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense from the guy's background and the messages left behind. Hey, fascists, catch this, notices bulges, shit like that. It's weird. The ammo doesn't match up. If it said something else, they could make him somebody who's far right, who doesn't like Charlie Kirk because, he's a neocon. Whatever. You got all these people combing around, and they find this rifle in a wooded area. Try to break down, somebody take a 30-06. I want you to do this if you own one of these. Stick it into your really almost skinny jeans and try to book across a roof and then try to jump off a roof. And then try to run, make a break for it. See how far you get and how quickly you can do that. They're literally saying that he jumped off a roof with a 30-06 stuffed in his pants. Are you fucking kidding me, dude? This is ridiculous. Something is amiss here. You have this George Zinn guy who created this entire smokescreen effect at the very beginning, so all attention went on him. This is like a magic trick, and it shows because there's always this BS, and people go, well, that happens. No, it doesn't always happen. It only happens in these cases. If there's a local scene and there's something going on, there's not some guy in the crowd that jumps out and goes, I'd shoot him again. It doesn't happen. It only happens in these cases. You've seen it so many times that you think it's normal. That's what's up. You have all the people on the left saying, see, he wasn't trans, or he wasn't a leftist, or he wasn't any... They weren't going by what he looked like. They were going by the messages left on the rounds. Hey, fascists, catch this, right? That kind of shit. And then they see a photo of him and they freak out. It doesn't make sense because they probably don't have the right guy. If this doesn't match the messages left behind, then something else is going on and the pieces need to be put together. Maybe this guy was just on the roof checking the whole thing out. And maybe somebody took out Kirk from further away. I don't know. But what I'm seeing and what I've seen doesn't make sense. Even before I knew who it was, the guy hopping off the roof, when he runs away across the roof in the beginning, I'll show you that, he doesn't have a weapon. This video was called Assassin on Rooftop, right? And you see him running, booking across the roof without a 30-06 in his hand. You can even zoom in on it. He's not carrying anything. He's just booking. I mean, he's going so fast that by the time the camera gets over to the right, he's already across the roof. That fast. It doesn't make sense. It didn't make sense yesterday. None of it. And it's not making sense now. This guy just happens to be hanging out in front of right where Charlie Kirk was shot. He starts shouting that he'd do it again, and shoot me, all this crazy shit. It causes this whole scene, right? And the ammo has these messages left on it, and the messages don't fit who they caught. As I said before, this is like a magic trick. When they tell you to look over here, when they direct your vision to somewhere else in order to get the magic trick done. Just because we see a guy running on the roof doesn't mean anything. When we saw the alleged footage of the Trump shooter, he had a weapon. He had a weapon on the roof. So you don't know what really happened. They turned in the guy on camera, a guy on camera walking away from the event. The FBI said that was the guy. But the guy on camera was never seen carrying a gun, ever. Ever. Remember that. The FBI was looking for the guy leaving the place on camera. When he jumps off the roof, he doesn't have a weapon, but the weapon ends up in the woods somewhere. This is just like the fact that the Trump shooter had a ladder to get on the roof. All this kind of weird shit, man. There's a lot of shenanigans going on. So as Sam Hyde said, everything isn't a conspiracy, but let me add, until you get into politics, power, and political narratives and control, then things start to get weird. You've got all this weird shit going on. Let me go back to the 7 right-leaning political candidates that all die within a couple days. It's impossible. And they're all saying that they died naturally. All these people just die. So then the ballots are worthless because all the ballots have their names on it. It's like a coup. Charlie Kirk is taken out and all this other shit is going on. I planned on making a video about the stabbings and everything else going on, and then this happens and it's horrible. But something is up here. It's not natural. You got this guy that creates this smoke screen saying he'd do it again, and he's saying to shoot him and all this stuff. It's bizarre. And then they end up arresting like 3-4 different people quickly, saying that they've got their guy, but then this guy pops up. And he doesn't leave with the gun, but the gun ends up in the woods. A long gun that can't be broken down so easily. This is not natural. And if you believe that something like this is natural and just happened, then you probably own an Obama butt plug. And that Obama butt plug has probably been ran through your dishwasher multiple times. And that is it for now. Look out for Charlie.
I've seen this before. Who is that?
That's the guy.
What guy?
The guy we were trying to get to do Nazi stuff. Come on, do Nazi stuff.
Oh, yeah. Still haven't been able to get him to do Nazi stuff.
No, but we keep trying.
Look out for Charlie.
I wonder if he'd be willing to do just a little bit of Nazi stuff.